TVNZ did a bit of a recap of last night's, and it's quite good because we had our initial state. And look, remember last night I said I don't think this will shift the needle. I'm already starting to think I could be wrong. Some really interesting numbers. I think it was they said 1 in 4 Trump voters would reconsider where their vote was going to go after last night's debate. So I'm happy to make a culpa if we see the results change, because I didn't think there was that knockout blow. There was obviously she won so easily to see, and he looked like a goose the whole way through, and he lost his cool, and it was a terrible moment for him. But there wasn't that massive knockout. Remember with Hillary Clinton when she was talking about something and Trump just went, because if I was president you'd be locked up. There's been lines and moments that have really, and that's all that's remembered. It's like Sarah Palin. All that's remembered about her is I can see Russia from my balcony. It's these moments, and I just felt in this kind of 15-second media world we're in at the moment that there wasn't one of those moments last night to shift it, but we'll see. So let's have a look at One News's coverage. It's a good little wrap up, and let us know what's going on. Here we go.
Reports.
Just hours after meeting on the debate stage, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump were together again. This time in New York for the annual 9/11 memorial at the site of the Twin Towers. Joe Biden between them, an unexpected scene. 23 years since the worst terror attack in US history.
23 years, man. 23 years. Where were you? Do you remember?
Oh, I remember very clearly because I was in my first year of working for RadioWorks.
Yeah.
So I was very much struggling to write inane radio ads for car yards while people took swan dives out of buildings. And I remember the great debate about dumping More FM, I think at that time's programming, to just do news ourselves for the whole hour rather than birthday calls and sponsors. It was a great big old debate. I do want to mention something. I saw some footage of this from, I think it was CNN.
Yeah.
But they caught something being shouted at Trump by a member of the public. A woman going, "I have been coming here for 20 years and I have never seen you. Where the fuck have you been?"
Interesting.
So this is nothing but a photo op for him.
Yeah.
It's all performative.
Yeah. No, 100%. Just to follow on from that question I asked you, I was in my first job working for RadioWorks. My first job was a mid-dawn show on More FM Auckland only. And so I was on air when the planes hit at More FM. And I was getting all these phone calls and I was having to go, what the crap did I do? And the breakfast show we had there were Jeremy Corbett and Kim and Corbett, and Paul Ego was a part of it. And I normally, because Corbett lived 2 minutes down the road. And so if I hadn't seen him by 6 o'clock, which is when he was supposed to be there, I would have to call him because he would then get out of bed and come in and be there by 3 minutes past 6. But Kim Adamson, who was sort of the anchor, I used to call every morning at 5 a.m. I'd be his wake up call to come into work. And I called him at 4 on that morning and got him in and called Jeremy in. And then I stayed on and worked with Paul Ego cutting up audio clips for the whole show in the morning. So that was my foray into radio on air when the Twin Towers were hit, by myself in a studio, trying to figure out what the hell do I do as a 20-something-year-old with this news story. Should I have called them earlier or whatever? So yeah, I remember too. It was a big time. Anyway, we should get going with the story because this is about the debate primarily.
Meanwhile, the fallout from last night's debate continues at pace, perhaps most passionately in Ohio, after Trump's false and calamitous claim about migrants there.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in.
They're eating the dogs.
They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
It is disappointing that some of the narrative surrounding our city has been skewed by misinformation circulating on social media and further amplified by political rhetoric in the current highly charged presidential election cycle.
Aside from that pet peeve, the issue of the economy front of mind for many voters and has been an attack point for Trump.
We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history.
This is the thing. Why? But why? And the reason there's that inflation like here was because of the governments through COVID and what they did. So yes, you have to, if you're gonna take the low petrol prices because of COVID, you have to own the responsibility of flooding the market with cash during COVID that drove to the inflation under the next term. So it's that's what I'm saying. It's a perfect example. And the problem is he's right to say it happened under them. Something I thought today, actually, Chill, you know how they're talking about we didn't get into a war? Like no wars under Trump? I was wondering why hasn't Kamala been saying, well, no pandemics under us? So I guess if we're responsible for wars and you are not because one didn't happen, then you're responsible for the pandemic because none have happened under us. So I guess that means you own it, buddy.
He's technically right that he didn't start a war, but he did do airstrikes on Syria. Completely ineffective airstrikes. So I mean, he loved having that power while he had it. It's a terrible idea.
And I guess you could say if war is about, death, to be a bit depressing, how many Americans died because of how he handled COVID in particular?
Yep.
So it's
I think I mean this adage is out the window at this point, but there used to be the adage that Americans would never vote out a president in the middle of a war. And it's just the fact that the Americans have been consistently at war since 9/11 that has blown that out of the water. But I mean, if Trump was in power, I wouldn't put it past him to start some ruckus so he could fit into that narrative that you don't vote out a president during a military action.
Although obviously he can only do one term, no matter what, because 2 terms is all they got, which is a stupid rule.
Well, is that correct? I was always under the belief that it was 2 consecutive terms.
No, there's been other presidents. Because one of the lovely pub quiz questions is always how many presidents have there been, and they're looking at, I think he's 47. They call him 47, and so people go 47, and then there's actually been 46 because one person before has had a split. One then lost, then one again. So that I can't remember who it is. So so he can only do 1 term. All right, we'll keep going.
Before, probably the worst in our nation's history.
Unfortunately for Donald Trump, the numbers, though, don't add up. While prices for things like food and gas in this country remain high, overall, inflation is at a 3-year low, which means the financial pressures which many families here currently face could soon begin to ease. More than 67 million Americans watched the debate. Most polls today show a resounding win for Harris, with one revealing nearly a quarter of Trump supporters will now at least reconsider their vote.
When you're debating with Trump, some of the main issues get overshadowed, and I feel like that's a strategy that he has with over-talking and saying bizarre things like eating animals.
I don't see an excitement in either candidate.
People who are supporting Kamala Harris and Joe Biden don't know what's going on in the world or in this country.
Donald Trump today lukewarm about the idea of round 2.
When you win, you don't really necessarily have to do it a second.
So he's suggesting that Kamala shouldn't do a second one. I probably won't show you, but if people are interested, go and have a look at Piers Morgan's conversation today. Tommy Lahren, that right-wing lunatic, Trump says Trump lost. Another guy from Ben Shapiro's network, Trump lost. So basically people who are honest are all saying Trump lost, be they right or left. Sycophants and sadists are trying to, which is what Trump is, trying to suggest that Trump won. But if any honest commentator, either from the right or only from the right, because the left are going to say it, aren't they, knows that he lost. So it's fascinating that he's still saying it when all the people he's listening to, who are actual journalists and honest commentators, are all saying he lost. So he needs another one. I hope they have a fucking ruckus, man. I hope the next one is an audience, 50-50, open mics, and just going for it. I hope. I'd love to see it. It would be a great watch. He needs it because he lost. So he actually needs the debate more than she does now. All right.
So we'll see. But I thought we had a great debate last night.
While Joe Biden donned a Trump cap in the spirit.
Yeah, did you see this? Biden putting on a Trump 2024 cap. And I know it looks like he's a goofball, but there's lots of video that he did do it. He put it on. He's talking to a bunch of old boys, and the guy he's talking to him calls him an old man, and good on you, old man, and tells him to put his cap on. He's got a cap on underneath. That's why it's sitting up so high. It's not photoshopped. He actually did it. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think it probably shows how little shit he gives.
Yeah, no shit's given.
Unity. This election has nearly 2 months of divisive debate to go. Logan Church, One News.
There you go. That's pretty much us. Stu, do you want to comment anything on that? I think it was a good summary of the whole event. I think it was TVNZ did well.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there was a couple of things. I don't know if you can go back to this the start of that with her handshake with Trump at the 9/11 thing. So there. I want to talk. They've shaken hands twice in 2 days.
Yep.
At the debate, she came to the middle of the stage. He wasn't, so she went to him. And I wanted to say this last night. There's a particular thing that Trump tends to do with handshakes.
Yep.
To assert dominance, right? Is he'll violently pull that person's hand towards them and take them off balance. Yeah. There's heaps of footage of him doing that. He doesn't do that on the debate stage. I think he was completely taken by surprise from that fucking moment.
Well, there was no handshake with Joe Biden, so he probably wasn't looking for it. So just pause for a sec. As I look at this photo, look at fucking JD Vance's tie. What a little bootlicking asswipe, man. He's dressing like Trump. I mean, he is absolutely... Look, I mean, actually, if you look at it, he's got the ribbon, same place, same long, ridiculous tie. He's dressing like Trump.
It's cosplay.
Yeah, it's cosplay.
So the second handshake, if we can see that here, he does try it. And
do you think he tries to pull it? Okay, I haven't got the sound on, so I can say it. So here it comes.
So here we go. Here comes the handshake, and then she yanks.
Oh yeah, I could see there's a little pull towards.
And then Kamala pulls back, so she was ready for it as well. I just think it's one of many things about Trump that I find insanely petty, and it's just such a tactic that. You know, we've seen, I think Trudeau was ready for it when he met him, that just really just yank back, that it's something that people are warned about with Trump.